Hey friends! It's so weird sometimes to like sit down and film. Hey guys, hello, how you doing? Hey guys, and happy Tuesday. I hope you guys are having a fantastic day. Today's video is something that I've been sitting and thinking about, talking about forever. It's something I've actually touched on a few times on my channel, but I've never made a dedicated video to it. And I really want to share some things with you guys that maybe will help you in raising your children, or maybe will help you as an adult, or maybe will just help in general, make you feel like you're not alone. What I really want to talk about today is like how long I've been on a diet. I have been dieting my entire life. I have been weight conscious, diet. It's hard for me to even talk about, honestly. I have been on a diet since I was 8 years old, basically. Off and on, obviously, but more on than off, 1000%. I have been very conscious of my weight since I was a young adult, or not even a young adult. I've been very conscious of my weight my entire life. It all kind of started when my parents got divorced. I was 8 years old when my parents got divorced, and there's food issues that go way deep into my family, and I guess it's in my genetics, in my DNA, and on both sides. And when my parents got divorced, I was kind of like fed food to soothe the pain of them splitting up. So it kind of all started, I think maybe there, but I don't really know, because I remember from just being a young age, like really noticing my weight even when I was little. So I've never experienced life not weight conscious, or not conscious of all the food I'm eating, or hiding food, or sneaking food, and all those things, but we'll get to that. But basically, I kind of want to explain to you what it's like to be on a diet for 20 years. 20 years. 20 years, almost 21 years, honestly, because I'm going to be 29 in June. I've been on a diet of some sort, form, or fashion for the last 20 years, and I want to explain to you guys what I've learned from being on a diet for that long. Diets. Because it hasn't been just one, it's been like all of them. I've pretty much done any diet you can think of. Clock me, I've been on every diet. The things that I've learned really from being on a diet for the last 20 years is that diets don't work. Boom, end of video. Diets don't work. I mean, they do, and then they don't. Most of the time they don't. Usually for me, they work and then they stop working, and I binge and I gain the weight and all of those things. Also, really fun fact, I have gained and lost hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of pounds throughout my entire life. Hundreds of pounds. This is the first time in my entire life where I've kept weight off longer than any other time. This is the longest I've kept 100 pounds off of me without gaining it all back and then some. So yay for that. But I have gained weight back and I'm losing it again. So this is the cycle that I've gone through. So one thing I will say with diets is they don't work. They don't. You truly, especially when you're young and you're really just losing weight for all the wrong reasons, even if you're losing weight for the right reasons, like diets don't work. They don't, especially the fad ones, like let's see, Slim Fast, any diet, honestly, like, because healthy eating is the way to go always. And I've been on keto now off and on for over a year, and I love it. It's a way of eating, as is every other diet is a way of eating. But when you have true eating issues, diets don't work. They just don't. They work for some time, and then if you don't dig down deep and figure out what the real problem is, you're never going to actually be successful in your weight loss. So I will say, yes, diets don't work, but it's not because of the food you're eating. It's more because of what's going on up here. I have learned throughout my 20+ years of dieting, I have food issues. I have food issues. You don't get to be my size, don't care who you are. You don't get to be over 400 pounds or 400 pounds without having some sort of food issue. Doesn't mean that you have like an eating disorder, doesn't mean that you have mental problems or any of those things. It means you have an issue and you turn to food for happiness, for comfort, for excitement, for sadness, for boredom, for all of the things. That's what a food issue looks like to me. I turn to food for every single great, beautiful, hard, amazing, perfect thing in my life. Oh my gosh, we got married. Let's eat a whole cake. Oh my goodness, it's raining today. Better eat. Oh my goodness, oh, we're celebrating. We better go out to dinner and order all the food and not just one appetizer. We need them all. I still very much struggle with food and using it as a tool for everything. So I've definitely learned that I have some serious food issues, and not in the sense of like I'm anorexic. I do have a little bit of a binge eating disorder. We've already touched on that. But basically, I have food issues. I turn to it for everything. So that is something that I'm very self-aware about now. It took lots of therapy, lots of growing up and being an adult and being on a diet for the last 20 years for me to really realize that I have a food issue. I don't know how to get past it, to be quite honest with you. I've had lots of therapy, like lots. I don't know if it's just in my genetic makeup for me to turn to food. I don't know when it will end. I don't know what will be it for me and be like, oh no, you just don't need food. Because we need food to live. It's such a weird, slippery slope. I can never really escape it. I can't escape my addiction. It sucks. But at the same time, it's awesome because I love food. I truly love it. I live for it. I love it. I love it. But you will never be successful with weight loss until you really realize that you do have a food issue, and like when you're eating for a feeling and not because you're hungry. 9 times out of 10 I'm eating for a feeling, not because I'm hungry. So that is something else that I've learned in my 20+ years of dieting. I've also learned that you cannot lose weight for anyone else but yourself, and that is obviously true. Everybody knows that. I think that's like, duh, Lauren. But you would be surprised, especially in my younger years. I was pushed into certain diets to appease family members, nobody that's in my life now, but family members, or because they were embarrassed that they had a fat kid, or they were embarrassed that I was losing weight because I knew that people were embarrassed to be seen with me, and that is not the way to go, ever. Especially if you have, I would say my biggest piece of advice, if you have an overweight child, don't make that the topic of conversation all the time. Seriously. That creates so many food issues that you would not even believe. Hiding food, sneaking food, binging on food when no one's around. The second you get a car, then you have the access to food that you just didn't have if you're trying to keep it out of the house. Don't make food an issue. Just don't. Offer healthy snacks, but don't bring it up too much, okay? That's really what I would say to you. If you have a little bit of a chubby child, all kids kind of go through a weird chubby phase. There's like obviously the skinny kids that don't. 9 times out of 10 kids go through that weird chubby phase. Probably was going through a weird chubby phase and it turned to a food situation. So I would say, please just don't bring it up to them. Just don't bring it up. Handle it how you need to handle it as their parent, but just don't overly talk about it, okay? That would be a big piece of advice I've learned in the last 20 years. Also in the last 20 years, it's really strange for me to say that I've been on a diet for 20 years. It kind of puts things into perspective. I think the biggest thing I can take away from being so self-aware of like how much I weigh and stepping on the scale more times than I've not stepped on the scale in my life, and just overall being really aware of like my size and my weight. I think the thing I've learned the most is that people are going to treat you differently when you are large, and that is just the plain cold hard truth. It's unfortunate and it's society, and I'm not 100% like, I'm not aware of when I treat people differently. I have been tons of different sizes and I've been treated differently at every size. Maybe that's the phase of life I was in, but more often than not, I'm treated a little bit better when I am smaller than when I was really, really big. When I got married, I was 400 pounds. I was huge. I needed a seatbelt extender. People literally look at you like you're an animal, like at the zoo. It's just it's a weird thing. Like people still kind of look at me sometimes, but not really. I feel like people don't stare at me as much now as they did when I was really, really large. I think a lot of people question, how do you get that big? Like, how do you let that happen? And it's so crazy because you don't really let it happen. It just happens. Like, it just really does happen. It's unfortunate. That's also something I've learned is like, the more you focus on food, the more weight you gain. I feel like the more when I focus on what I'm eating, I was more inept to actually go out and eat the terrible things and just not tell anybody about it and be super ashamed and all of those things. So there's a lot of things that have come with the 20+ years that I've been dieting. I will say now as an adult, I am 28, almost 29 years old. I am probably more comfortable in my body and my skin than I've ever been, thanks to a really great husband who loves me no matter what I look like, and just for you guys have helped me a ton too on YouTube. I mean, YouTube has really made me more confident and more self-aware, and because I lay everything out on the table for you guys and I just try and be my most authentic, honest self, it also is like a tool for me to realize that my life and my worth is not determined by a number on the scale, and it is not determined by how much weight I've lost or how much weight I have to lose or how I'm losing it or what I eat in a day. I've struggled a lot with that here on this channel, is like, should I do more what I eat in a day? Is people only gonna like me if I'm losing weight on keto? And I don't think that's really true. I think I feel in my heart that a lot of people really do want to see me succeed, and probably all for the right reasons, but I know deep down, at least I hope, that you guys love me for me no matter what size I am or no matter if I gain weight or lose weight. And it's just been, I can't thank you guys enough for being so supportive of me in all phases of my life here on the internet. I mean, you guys have really stood by me, been so supportive. I've literally had I can count on one hand the amount of people who've been not nice to me about it, and that is so amazing. And it's just proof to show that you guys truly are incredible humans, and you guys understand me more than a lot of other people have in my life. And I'm so internally like grateful for you guys, because you guys have made this transition of life and the things that I've gone through and all of the ways I eat or don't eat, you guys make me feel accepted and loved and cared for, and I hope I can do the same for you. If you guys have been dieting or have been very aware of your weight your entire life, much like myself, you know that it never really gets easier, but you do learn how to manage the feelings that come along with like seeing a number on a scale that you don't necessarily like, or just realizing that you're gonna live, try and be your most healthy self, make more good decisions than bad decisions, and eventually you'll get to where you want to be, or you'll be healthier than you were. So I don't know if any of that made sense, other than like I have learned in these 20 years that my self-worth is definitely, I'm not defined by how big I am, period. I don't have to be the big funny girl. I don't have to be the big loud obnoxious girl. I don't have to be funny as a self defense mechanism. I don't have to be any of those things. I can just be myself and not be like, well, I'm the biggest girl in the room. Who cares? Who freaking cares? Who cares? Who cares? And I love the times we're in, because when I was growing up as a teenager, being fat was awful. I mean, and I say that because it's not really even true, because I had a ton of friends, I had boyfriends, like I didn't ever really have an issue, but I was always very aware that I was the big girl. So now I think with this whole body positivity movement and stuff, I think it's great. I think there's a lot, it's also kind of scary because there's a lot more obese people, and that's scary for all of us as like a nation, because we're all eating ourselves to death and it's kind of celebrated a little bit. But at the same time, it's nice for young girls to be like, okay, so she's pretty and she's successful and she's big. So I just kind of want to give hope to anybody who's in any phase of life as far as dieting or losing weight or just wanting to be healthier. Like, I want to give you the hope that it's going to be okay. You're going to get better, and you're not defined by what size you wear, period. Okay? Does that make sense? So I want to say thank you guys so much for supporting me, hanging out through all of this ups and downs and all the things, and I love you guys so much. Make sure if you like these kinds of videos, make sure you subscribe, leave a comment down below, and let me know what should we talk about in the comment section today. Let me know all the diets you've tried. I've done every way of eating, but tell me your favorite way of eating, which I have a feeling I know what a lot of yours is, but tell me what has worked for you or what you have loved the most out of any diet you tried, and like let me know how many diets you've tried down below. I'm interested to hear, because it's definitely, we are a nation full of dieters, and that's just the honest truth. I hope you guys have the best day ever, and I'll see you tomorrow.